Hey, good morning, everybody. Well, today is going to be day one of a 2-day kind of little survival challenge kind of thing. We got no food, no water. I brought my gear with me, so we're going to have to cook whatever I'm going to eat for the 2 days. And of course, we're right here by a river, so water shouldn't be a problem. We'll just have to make sure it's been filtered and probably run through some fire there to sanitize it. But I'm going to get some fishing equipment set up here real quick, guys, and I'll get right back to you. Okay, guys, we just got a basic crab trap here. It's got little chunks of some rotten chicken meat in the backside here. So we're going to throw this in here and hopefully get some crabs. That way we can use them for bait tonight for catfish. So we're going to throw this bad boy in. And we'll tie it off here. But keep getting stabbed to death because these things here have a lot of thorns on them. There we go. That should do. All right. Now then, we'll get some fishing action going in here. I've seen some bluegills, so I may get lucky and catch some bluegills early on and have a lunch. Might be a waiting game. We got the water is really pushing the lightweight stuff around pretty good, so as they're literally forcing it right back into the bank on us. That is not ideal. So we'll cast out further. So that'll put us clear out there. We'll bring that into just a little bit, but that seems to be a good stable place. Now it's kind of far out for some panfish, but we'll leave that there for a while, guys, and I'll get something else into the water here in just a little bit. Well, water's a little bit on the murky side, however. Go ahead and just throw this little guy here out. I get to stop moving so you can see it. Yep. And we got it on the Dock Demon here. It's a nice, small, pretty tough little pole. I've seen some videos on YouTube where some people have landed 30+ pound catfish on this pole. Plus I got a upgraded reel on it. But let's see if we can get lucky. Got it wrapped around the eye of the pole there. Hold on. I need to tighten that drag just a hair. A little more. A little more. There we go. We've had a lot of rain recently, so it's honestly kind of hard to tell what we're going to be looking at as far as getting fish. But I'm going to keep at it, and I'll get back to you guys if anything interesting happens. Okay, guys, we got two little poles out. We got the old ugly stick there, and another Dock Demon. Got us out on bobbers. So right now we're just going to kind of wait, see what happens. But this is exactly why they call it fishing and not catching. All right, guys, we've been here for maybe 35, 40 minutes. And I'm already getting thirsty. Now then, I brought this, and mainly because I'm actually inside of a national park area. And here recently, we've had a no burn ban, but we've had a lot of rain, but for some reason it's still up. No idea. But I can't make a fire. And even if the burn ban wasn't a thing, like I said, I'm on state park property. So I got this to heat with. And I much prefer a fire, but I just, I'm not going to get myself in that kind of trouble. So, and I brought I brought my whole bag and kit and all that good stuff with me, my shelter, all that stuff on this trip. I got I actually left in the buggy, but I got a little tiny, like 4 or 6 inch frying pan that has a handle broke off that you saw in one of my overnight videos I did. Cooked eggs with it. But yeah. No dirt in it, never hurt none. Got my cup. Got my old Coleman cooker here. There's another one of these in here, some basic spice kit. I took one of the green plastic cups out of here just to make room so I can put some utensils in there, but I still have one green plastic cup in there. I don't have any kind of oil, lard, butter, you name it. I don't have nothing to actually fry fish with. Normally that's not a problem doing it on the open fire, but I've never really attempted to cook fish with one of these. Don't know how it's going to work, but I got that little skillet just because of that. That's assuming we catch anything. Like I said, the water right now is not ideal for catching panfish like bass, crappie, bluegill, and stuff of that nature. And that also reminds me, out here, since this is our state park, you are not allowed to keep bass because those were brought in and stocked many years ago for like bass tournament fishing and stuff like that. So if I catch a bass, I have to release it. If I get caught with said bass, as a $200 fine per bass that they catch you, like you have a stringer or a cooler, you're fishing it, for per bass that they find on you or could be on you, that's a $200 fine per bass. So that, and good chance you can get banned from the park. So just to let you know, if I do happen to catch a bass and I show you guys and you see me flop it back in the river, that's why I cannot keep that bass. So just in case you need to know. Oh yeah, if you guys are hearing random gunshots in the video, there's several, not too off, maybe, I don't know, 700, 800 to 1,000 yards up behind me past the tree line. There's actually properties. This is a 4-H ground up here for the youth and stuff, and there's actually people who live up through there. So I've had to come down a access road to get down here with my side-by-side. But yeah, we could actually even have random people show up fishing, or maybe come back on boats and kayaks, stuff like that. So, but anyway, if you've watched the videos, you'll notice this is the exact location that I did the 9 items only challenge. So, but just update, guys, I'm still rocking this Odin Wolf Scandi here. I'm actually really liking it. If it, I don't know if I could, actually ever talk to any people that work there, or if they'd listen to me for a design thing. I would actually like to take this concept here and upgrade it a little bit. But this is just wishful thinking and stuff. Like I said, The knife itself is fantastic, but I like to have had it 3/16 of an inch thick and taper down just a little bit. Then we come into this zero grind Scandi that it's got. But I like to have this in DC53 steel because, man, that's one of my favorite steels right now. But yeah, this thing is still getting right with it. I've kind of just, you know, in the morning, I get my coffee. I'm going to sit around on the porch, drink some coffee, or even in the evening, sometimes I'm just out there winding down the day. You know, I'm popping this thing out, grabbing I got a whole bunch of pine sticks and stuff to whittle on. Or, you know, I feel like getting real creative and making a spoon or something like that. Do a lot of the chip work with this thing. But that's my fixed blade that I'm rocking on the trip. I'm carrying this kind of just for further testing purposes, since, you know, I hyped it up so much. So I want to make absolute sure that this thing is going to live up to the hype I gave it. Now, as far as the challenge goes, I'll go over it again. This is going to be 48 hours, and I brought no food or no water. I do have my EDC on me, obviously, plus my kit and my shelter. I have that little water filter straw. I'm going to try to not use it. It, you know, depends on how everything goes. You know, if I'm, you know, having it on me, if I decide to walk, you know, on down the river, up the river here, looking for something to scavenge, preferably a container, because I may want to try to hunt up some natural bait on this trip. So I might want to try to find a container, cut it open, put a little bit of dirt in it, get some worms. Wow, that light is glinting off that. But yeah, I lost my train of thought, guys. But anyway, I think I have a good chance of catching a catfish, if nothing else, tonight. That just means I'm going to be hungry all day. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. I'm a pretty hefty sized guy. I can go a day or two without eating much. Okay, we're looking for some kind of random container to put some worms in. That's not ideal, but it may work. So we'd rather not deal with broken glass. Now, last time we was here, we had quite a large amount of debris. We've had a few floods since then. We'll look around some of these brushy areas. Maybe find a bottle or something like that. Brought my muck boots with me too, just in case, because sometimes the stuff can get real swampy. All right, well, I can see something clear up there. Get back real quick, we'll check it out. Had a beaver take this tree down. Actually, there's quite a few over there that's been chewed out. Amazing creatures. Oh, we got an old chicken liver container. Somebody was, oh gosh, I think there's still some in it. It's like an animal's chewed on it. Almost don't even want to open this up. Because, man, that could be real nasty. All right, let's get the tripod set out here. I think we can use this for worms. So it's not ideal, but I got some wipes and stuff with me. That way, in case we need to have some kind of sanitation, we're covered. That, and I need to keep my hands clean to operate the camera equipment and all that. So, just real quick, guys. We'll just come up here just a hair more. Normally there's bottles everywhere too. So I might have to make a longer trip to find some bottles. There's a nice swampy little spot. It's holding water. Good place for frogs and snapping turtles. Well, I don't see nothing in the immediate area. Well, actually, I do clear out there in that little spot there, surrounded by water. But I'm not going to worry about that till later. Camera around here. All right, we'll get back to my little camping spot there. Have to maneuver around all the trees and the tree branches. All right, that's a pretty good score. Wish it didn't have the holes in it, but beggars can't be choosy. Actually, while I'm right here, cut the camera, I'll get set up. There's an old log right here. We're going to see if I can find any worms under. Oh boy, that's rotten. This old girl. If you guys can see that or not. That could too be eaten or used as bait, but I'm after earthworms specifically, or grubs. There's centipede. And the reason I'm after earthworms is because they are really preferred bait around here. And there's nothing there, but we'll keep looking. I did bring my digging tools, so if need be, we can dig some up. A big piece of bark. There's one. These aren't, you're rarely going to find anything like night crawlers you normally see in a store, but well, that was only one worm. However, that was one more than we had. I'm sure if we was digging, we'd find more. Right now, I'm just grabbing whatever it is I can find. Oh boy, that's buried. Nothing. Oh, wait a minute. There's one. Pretty small one, but I'll take it. So let's do a little bit of this inside. The way our worms have a little something to keep them moist and safe until we use them. All right, onwards. All right, lifted this log up here. Found a small one, fairly small. Usually, well, there's one, there's more than that. The ground's still pretty cool. It got below freezing last night. It's supposed to be in the 60s today and in the 80s tomorrow. So, well, we're finding them one at a time, but we're finding them. All right, let's see if we got anything good under this. I saw one, but I may have lost it. There it is. And the difference just having one little digging tool makes is exceptional. Like I said, these are pretty small earthworms. However, they still will work as bait. It's always nice to have the artificial baits, because you can keep those around for a very long time, and you don't have to worry about them dying and all that. But sometimes I really like to have the natural stuff when I can get it. I seem to have far better response from the fish that way. Actually, cut that one's head off, but put some of this leaf flare back. Fiddlehead. There's a nice one. Pretty healthy size. I find a couple dozen like that. Now we're talking. Here's another one. Pretty good size. All right, guys, you kind of got the idea here what I'm doing. So I'm going to get with this, and I'll get back with y'all after I've caught at least 2 or 3 dozen worms. That way I should have enough for the 2 days. Okay, guys, about 20 minutes there in about a 5x5 little patch. And I'll show you guys roughly what I got here. Of course, keep from losing might be a trick. So I've already got somewhere around close to 3 dozen earthworms. And that will suffice for quite a while. Did I lose any there? Nope. All right. I might need to add a little bit more soil to that, though, in a little bit. Now, what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to keep this somewhat in the shade. It's important to keep them kind of cool and a little bit of moisture, not like wet, just moist. And you can't let them get too hot. So there's this little nook. Oh, if I can get it in the view. Yeah, get in there. Right there. Yeah, I can see that. I may put a little bag of my stove and my cooking kit over top of it there. And that should help keep it out of most of the sun. That way I don't, I fry my worms and they're dead and turning into liquid on me because they don't handle direct sunlight very well. I mean, man, it just destroys them no time. Okay, now I'm going to get some water out of the river here because I'm getting very thirsty. It's getting on about 12:32 in the afternoon, and I'm going to bait up with some worms, cast out. Then I'm going to try to get some actual water on the bowl here because I need something to drink. Okay, this water is actually clearer than what's in the river. All right, we got this container full of that. Now we're going to boil. All right, guys. Got a goose in the background there cussing me. And by the way, yeah, if this was a survival situation, that goose would be fair game. I'm actually really liking these little stoves here. Quite handy. I'm having some wind, so I don't know. I may have to rig something up for the wind too, guys. So, all right. Other than some little bit of floaties in there and a slight film, this is actually pretty clear. But you can't see the stuff that can seriously harm you. So, there we go. Now I'm going to try not to walk around this area too much here because I don't want a bunch of jarring, because that's not the most stablest platform in the world. Put a lid there. I'll increase our boil time by quite a bit. I may need to grab a couple of logs because I don't want the wind to blow this thing out on me. I don't want to have to run a full blast either. So, all right, with that, make sure this stuff don't get scattered everywhere. Cover my worms back up. All right, now this will probably take maybe, I don't know, because of the wind, it's going to make it take longer for sure. So maybe 8-10 minutes for this to boil, but we'll get checked on that later. Just actually, let me see. It is 10 or 20 minutes to 1 right now, so I'll get an idea how long that takes. Alrighty, guys. Woo, back here. I'm going to take this artificial off. We'll lay this here right there in case we do want to use that again later. But what we're going to do is we're just going to hook up on a real worm here. The feisty little bugger. We'll try to get the majority of him on the hook. There we go. Pretty basic, simple. Worm on a hook. Now I'm going to chuck him back out there. Spin you guys around real quick. And thank goodness that goose finally left. That thing was mad. All right. See if I can keep from hitting you guys. All right. She is out there. Now hopefully that'll draw the attention a lot faster than that artificial. And the wind's calmed down a bit finally, so as you can see, my bobber's actually going the opposite direction it was earlier this morning. But as long as it's not coming clear into the bank where I didn't want it, you know. And since we're doing that, I'm going to head and throw this one back out. Not near as far, but we're going to have a artificial and a natural. Perfect. Right there by these little lumps. You guys can't see them, but there's these little mounds of earth right here, and that's a good spot for some bluegill to kind of house up on. And well, nothing else, I'd like to get a small one for cut bait. Let me get over here so you can see where I threw this one. I got a glare on this. It's like, yeah, little green thing. That's a bobber. These earth clods. Now I'm just going to get back off from here so I can't be seen by the fish. Let that kind of do its thing. So hopefully here sometime soonish we'll catch something. All right, guys. We're at a boil. 12:52-ish. It's just, but getting that slow, but it's not a rolling boil yet, but it is boiling. Not bad. That actually even made it clear up a little more. Considering how much the wind is kicking around here, I expected it to take longer. Oh, yeah. Let's get my cup. Not sure what's in the bottom of that thing. Sure. Cup. Drop this thing down. Sometimes I keep forgetting to watch the camera right around, around everything I'm doing. Freeze dried coffee. Ooh, that's a different size spoon than I normally use. Well, I'm going to go with 3, maybe. We'll go 3. 2, actually, we'll go 2. See how that does. Maybe if I can get it out of there. Whoop. 2 there. It's a pretty good sized cup I got. But if that don't, quite float to my taste, then I can add more. Let's just take that spoon off there. Oh, this set, I don't know if I've shown these or done a review or anything on these. I got these at Rural King, and they're Coghlan's, stainless steel, made in Taiwan. They're decently short, and they come with this metal ring. This has always been a hit or miss up there at my local Rural King, because sometimes they'd have them in, but once they sold them out, sometimes it took them a while to get them back. So if you just happen to see them, I probably bought 3 or 4 sets of these. I know I've given 1 or 2 away, but I liked it because it's nice travel size and they usually fit in most containers. But yeah, decent little set, and they weren't too crazy expensive. They were like $8, probably about $10 now if you find them, 10, 12 at the most. Everything has gone up quite a bit here recently, so let's see how we're looking here. This little bowl. I'd like to get it a rolling bowl before I actually consume it, just in case, because, like I said, you can't see the real harmful pathogens, protozoas, viruses, bacteria, all kinds of different nasty things you don't want in your body, and they're microscopic, so it's best to err on the side of caution. Like I said, if I was really desperate and I just absolutely had to have a drink now, I could just literally just take that container, scoop it right up out of the river, and use that little straw filter I got. It's good for 50 gallons, and I even got a replacement piece that goes in the bottom, so I can actually do 100 gallons with that pen I got on me. And I like that because it's small and compact, whereas versus say like Big Life straw or even the Sawyer Mini. So, but once I get this cup of coffee made here, guys, I'll kick back with you. Let's get good mixed up. Ooh, she's still pretty hot. I did a video, in case anybody was wondering what kind of instant coffee I like. And it was on a previous video. I honestly cannot remember what it was called, but yeah. But nothing else. I can't even remember off the top of my head, but if nothing else, I'll put it in the description in case anybody's worried about it. I've tried several different kinds, and most of them I really don't like the taste of. Ooh, you got some puddle gunk. Get that out of there if I can. But yeah, I got some likes and dislikes about this one, but this so far has been the most palatable out of all the ones that I've tried. Now, as far as actual regular coffee, I'm a big fan of Folgers, but their instant coffee, unless they've changed something in the very recent future, I really don't like their instant coffee. Some people do like it. I don't. But that's just my personal taste. So if you like it, more power to you. Sorry, guys, just making sure my stuff is stashed away. I keep getting pretty heavy gust of winds, and I don't want to grab that store bag I got my stuff in and up to the hillside it goes on me. But that's one of the nice things about having a small kit where I can have something like this little guy, and that allows me to have hot fluids, because usually if you're out doing anything, having something cold or hot is usually difficult. But if it's cold out, you usually want something hot. But if it's hot out, you want something cold, and that's even trickier to pull off. So, but this is pretty nice. I got this as a Christmas gift, so pretty handy. Very much enjoying this little guy, as it makes where I can't have a fire out here. This makes me actually able to have a nice hot cup of coffee. Instant coffee, but still coffee. It may be too hot to sip yet, but yep, that's still pretty hot. All right, guys. As soon as that cools up and not enough to actually drink, I'll drink some of it. But till I don't know. I don't keep doing some updates here and there, but nothing super interesting is probably going to happen until I actually manage to land a fish here. So, I'll get back with you. Hopefully, I'll have something halfway interesting to show you guys. Okay, guys, so I got this really old rat trap. It's been sitting around in the tote. So, I have one on my side by side. She's pretty old, but I still think it's perfectly usable. So what I'm going to do I'm going to set this thing up. There we go. We'll keep that. We'll put a hole in it. So my idea here is set this up. If I can catch a rodent, that will make pretty good bait for a catfish. So I do got trout line with me. And later this evening, I'll probably throw a trout line out. Maybe 2. And those things will fish for me, even if I'm asleep. May even catch a snapping turtle or soft or leatherback turtle. That's kind of what we call them out here. We got both snapping and soft shelled ones, which are edible, not near as much meat on them. The turtles are a real big hassle to process, and I'm not starving to the point where I'm going to actually process a snapping turtle. It takes them a long time to mature. Yeah, so I really don't want to kill and eat the snapping turtle if I don't got to. So if I do catch a snapping turtle, I'll turn it loose. I'm not going to starve even if I don't catch anything in the next day, 2 days, or whatever. It's about 12 after 3 right now. But what this will let me do is have another device out there getting something for me. In this case, hopefully a rat or a field mouse. What I'm going to do too to bait this trap, I'll take some of these worms and I'm going to mash them up. And we're going to put them on the trigger plate, which is pretty rusty. But that should help us get something. I'm going to take some of this more expendable cordage here, which is another reason why I actually like carrying a big roll of this, because you can just, there's so much of it and it's fairly affordable. You can literally just, I just need this X amount of length for this little project here. Bam, done with it. Don't worry about it. Instead of cutting it and then mow it off. Yeah, that'll keep the ends from fraying out. I am literally just going to overhand knot this thing on. Nothing fancy. Had to pause to make sure I was in frame there, guys. I'll try and knot in this tag in to keep her from slipping through, because this stuff, I'll definitely be the first to tell you, does not like to bind on itself at all. So always put a little stop knot in there. All right. Now this is just in case we get like a coon or a possum actually gets into this thing. We don't want it to run off of a trap. So with that, put this stuff up real quick. I will mash up because I want to bait this trap obviously before I set it. So let's grab us a couple worms, and rodents will absolutely eat worms, especially field mice. Let's just grab 2. I think, and actually this one here will probably do. Just gonna get a stick, use the top of this thing. And the reason I'm kind of smashing this up, for one, it'll kill it and keep it from crawling off. Plus, I want the rodent, whatever it may be, to actually have to work in that trap trigger plate. So that way it doesn't just, snatch the worm off there and scurry off and thank me for free dinner. Well, that stick is doing a pretty terrible job at this. Yeah, that's just an exceptionally tough worm. All right, I think that'll probably do it. So their piece. So we'll just put that up here near the top. Jam that bad boy in there. Alright, nothing fancy, and it may not produce anything, but again, this is going to be something that's out there doing some work for me while I'm doing other things. Alright, this little spot here has a lot of nooks and crannies to hide in. Pretty good spot, I think. Yep, that's strong enough. Let's see. Tell you what I'll do, I'm going to notch that just so that there's less chance of it sliding off. That Scandi grind, guys, is absolutely working this wood. Alright, that's a good deep notch. So we'll probably go around that a couple times. Good deal. Alright, now if I can manage this without smacking my own fingers, silly. Now these things aren't the most powerful trap in the world, but they can hurt you really bad, and I would reckon, right circumstances, it could actually potentially break your finger if it hits it just right. Alright, now she's set. Kind of put her right up in there. Nice little channel right here. Make the rodent or whatever happens to get into this feel safe. It's hidden, nice big cluster of stuff. So we'll just let that be and see if I get lucky. Now, I brought relatively minimal kit here, guys, and I did that on purpose to make this a bit more challenging. But I also have, the rat trap. I believe this is the one that I used in the video. Yeah, it's already got a hole in it. So this one's already got a hole in it, and it's a newer one. So I could actually set out more than one trap if needs be. However, so we got some Tarred Mariners bank line here. This stuff is the bomb. And I'm going to probably set out maybe two bank lines this evening. Maybe throw that out around 4 or 5-ish. And usually as it cools down and it gets dark, your catfish will come from the deeper parts of the water, and they'll come up closer to the bank to feed on smaller bait fish, or what we'd consider panfish, like your bluegill and such. So I'll probably only throw these maybe 10, 15 feet at the most away from the edge of the bank. So I'll probably only need a maximum of 30 feet per line. And the good thing about that is, after I'm done with them, I can take the hook back off of them. I can bundle those up, or let them dry first and bundle them back up and stick them back in this pouch. Then I already have 2 pre-made bank lines waiting for me after the fact. Now this is a brand new pack, so we're going to head and pop this bad boy open. That's some premium stuff. That's nice and sticky, but not too sticky. Goodness, that is on there. Get the tail end. There it is. All right. Now then, I'll just get the big camera up. Now, this about, measuring it all technical wise, what I normally do, I'll just extend my arms out, and one of them be fingertip out, and the other one's going to be cupped around this, so that's going to be around close to 6 feet. So that's 6. 12. 18. And we'll just go one more. That'll probably be enough. That should get me out in it. Just to be safe, we can actually just go one more for the heck of it. I don't think we'll need that quite that much, but why not? There we go. So that's guaranteed at least my 30 feet. And what I'm going to do with this one too, I'm going to cut this, but I'm also going to melt the end again. And that is just to help keep my ends from fraying out, because this is braided. There we go. Now that's one ready to go. So I'm just going to line this bad boy up. I'm going to set it aside here. Messy. So I don't think I'll make the next one quite this long. This will be one that I can keep in here in case I absolutely need a long one. So our next one, probably going to go around the 24-foot mark roughly. So here we go. 1, 2, about 12. There's about 18. And one more. And that's it. We're done with that one. So this one will be just a tinch bit shorter. All right, now we're going to melt the tips. Beautiful. Oh, guys, I was beating up my microphone there. All right. We still got a decent little bit of this left. So we'll pop it back in the bag here. All right. Now, too, you gotta remember this is what was this one? Make sure I tell you right. Got it's number 36 bank line, and we have 131 feet of it. Beautiful. This is very strong stuff, guys. So if you're getting into bushcraft, camping, trapping, survival, whatever the case may be, I highly recommend that you guys purchase this. And I would almost dare say, if you had to pick between this and paracord, I would go this, because it's very strong. You can even get much larger diameter and stronger bank line than this. And, you can do so much with it. You can even unbraid this, get much smaller pieces of cordage, and you can set up your camps, your shelters, what you name it. There ain't much you can't do with this stuff. So keep that in mind, anybody who's getting into this stuff. All right. Now then, we're going to get a larger hook on this one, if I can keep from hooking myself, which I really do not want to do, because that makes for a very long day. Okay, that one's still good and sharp. It's a bit older of a hook. This is plenty big enough here. Actually, it's the eye on this thing is probably just barely big enough to accept this. Actually, I'm going to have to melt that and taper it a hair just to allow that to go through the eye of that hook. But that's pretty good around here. I'm beating this poor microphone to death, guys. I'm sorry. Around here, that's for the most part, most average catfishes you're going to catch out of here. You're definitely good with that size hook. All right, let's see if that'll do it. Ooh, got the ends a little ugly. Try to fix that there. There we go. That's better. Trying to be difficult on me. Boy, that just barely may not fit in there. Goodness. She's a tight fit, fellers. And ladies. Alright. Get a little bit more through there. And that may be a thing too. If you need more exact measurements, I don't know if you actually really needed that exact, but maybe consider doing your extra 3 or 4 inches just for, getting everything all worked together. A little bit more. There we go. I mean, it may not be a necessity to you. It just, hey, get the daggone thing on there. Let's get her did. Yep, I need a little bit more because I want about 7 wraps here. That's a kind of a standard. And this stuff's kind of stiff too. It's a little harder to work with. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, that's all right. Yeah, that hook's a little bit too small for that. So I'm just going to back it off. And we're just going to do my standard, which is quick, down, dirty, easy. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I can get it. 5, 6, and a 7. Slide her back through that hole. Oop. Back through that hole and cinch her down. Now this stuff, obviously, it does not slide like normal line because of the tar that's on this. And it's going to give you a little bit of a fight. So keep that in mind and be extra careful because you don't want to let your fingers slip and then you'll slide down through there and jam this hook. Ugh, that's going to ruin your day if that happens. So don't do that. All right. Now, when you get fast moving water, sometimes you need some sinkers on this, some kind of weights. If that's going to be an issue, definitely keep that in consideration. But I'm really hoping to either catch just one like panfish here. That way I can make some cut bait, or I can get a rodent to use as bait because catfish aren't super picky. They'll eat almost anything, and they'll eat some stuff that's not even really edible. But you'll find that if you really need a fish, and even knowing all that, it's going to be one of them deals where the catfish just, I'm not in the mood today. So you never want to throw your eggs in one basket. All right, that thing is cinched pretty good. All right, so now we got our hook on our line. And the idea with this is after we get our sinker and our bait on here, I'll probably drive a stake in the ground if I can't find something that's already on the bank where I want it. And we'll attach the tag end of this to it, tie a good overhand knot in it. Then we're just going to kind of throw it out there roughly where we want it. And then over time, that scent will go through the water and hopefully draw in a catfish. So here's hoping, guys. Okay, guys, got my sinker threaded on there. It's a larger sinker, and I'm probably going to have it away from my hook somewhere around 16 inches a foot, maybe 2 at the most. But, because I kind of want, so if it's going to move around at the bottom a little bit, that's fine. I don't mind that. So we're going to go somewhere in the neighborhood. Maybe, can't quite get it in shot, guys, but we'll choke that up just about there then. Now I got these larger split shots. Maybe grab my multi-tool. You want to squeeze the back end there and open that up. And this may, that almost won't fit. I might have to force that open even further than it's meant to go. Which is fine. I don't mind. We can do that. There we go. I'll see if that was enough. Basically, what I want to do with this is just like not so much the extra weight I'm worried about. It's just kind of like a stopper. That way that weight doesn't go clear up against that hook, and I don't think that's going to fit. Yeah, maybe it will. It's just going to be real tight. Well, it may not stay on there, but it's kind of what I'm working with. Whoop. Well, that's what you get for assuming. I actually thought that these split shots would fit this. So, like, hey, I got a quick fix for this issue. And that right there is a shame on me. But we'll see. That may stay on there. Got her smashed pretty good. Yeah, see, that's basically what I was. Just a stopper to keep that heavy weight from going too far. Now you can put one on the back end if you want. I don't think I'm going to. It's no big deal once I throw it in there. But I had 2 out, but since that's really not working the greatest, don't think I'm going to go that route. Now, if you want, you could use a barrel swivel or something like that. Just connect these 2 pieces together, then that'd been a perfect stop for that. But I don't really want to do a barrel swivel on this. Now then, it's a matter of waiting for me to have something as bait. I got worms. I mean, I could shove some worms onto this. Nightcrawler would have been, more apt to use for this. But, if I can not get anything else today, I will just take 4 or 5 of those bigger worms. Maybe just 3 will work. And I'll just throw the worms on this and sew it out there. So, but that's for a little bit later this evening, guys. So I will definitely get back with you on that. Actually, I could combo that up because I got artificial worms of different varieties and colors. I've got white, brown, pink. Probably had another one here. Maybe I don't. Yeah, but I can, real easily kind of add some artificials with some real ones. I mean, kind of combo it up. But for now, we're working with that. And we'll see how that goes depending on, what we got for bait. So we'll get back with you guys a little bit later on with this specifically. Till then, we'll see about me hopefully catching some actual panfish here. Nothing else. I wouldn't mind have 1 or 2 to eat, but I definitely want one for bait. Because catfish do like some bluegill. Alright guys, get this thing put up out of the way. Put my rat trap back in here. Try to keep it semi-organized if I can. Alright guys, back later. Alright guys, time to bait this thing up. We're getting on 5 o'clock. I don't know if y'all can see that, but we're getting on 5 o'clock, so what I'm going to do, take this power bait. I am going to put at least one artificial one here. I'll get some extra scent in the water. Plus a little extra mass. Of course, that thing is just about too small for this big old hook, but I think I can get it on there. So I've had zero luck with catching a panfish so far, but we can keep trying that till dark. We'll ram that artificial right up in there. Now I'm going to search for a larger earthworm here. Probably going to lose a few, but that's fine. There's a nice big one. And saw another one there. There we go. There's a volunteer. And what I might end up doing this evening is go ahead and let these guys loose anyway. That way I don't, I don't want them to die. It'd be a waste. So probably sometime around 8 o'clock or so, I'll just dump these guys out back here where I got them. That way they'll live and reproduce, and because if I need more, there is no problem whatsoever acquiring worms out here. This place is just chock full of them. Well, that worm there is quite a fighter. I'm quite literally smushing them on there nice and tight. Because normally you throw at least a couple night crawlers on for a set like I'm doing right here, but we've got earthworms and that's what we're using. So that's kind of what we ended up with. Not great, but it's bait. I think that'll do far better than throwing a bare hook out there. Alright, so now we'll get ready to toss this thing out in the water. Okay. Well, first off, I just got a simple stick, cut it off, cut a slight sharp 45-degree angle on that. And we will put her right in here. I'm jamming her pretty deep at a little bit of an angle. All right. Now let's get this unwound from itself. All right. I'm literally just going to put a simple slip knot into this. Well, I probably had my hand in the way. Simple, basic. I'll keep that from going anywhere and be easy to take apart later. So I'll run it down there and it'll cinch tight. I'll make sure this is not all coiled up or nothing. All right, we're good and free. All right, here we go. That one's somewhere in the neighborhood of 20-ish, 15 feet off from the edge of the bank, which is what I'm hoping catfish is going to come up close when it gets darker, and it'll find that and nail it. And my second one, I've got it rigged up, no baits on it yet. So I'm going to wait for a little bit later for that one. So I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do that one. I don't know if I want to wait for catch. Maybe I can still try to catch another panfish, or see if that rat trap pays off. Or later on, right here as it starts to get closer to dark, we're going to check that crab trap too, see if we got anything on it. But for now, I want one in the water, so we're actually, got potential to catch stuff. And here's another thing. In our state, if you're doing these trout lines and bank lines, and if they're left unattended, you may have to, even if you're tending them, I'd have to double check, but you need to, I do believe you got to put some kind of tag on there if your name and address, almost like you do for traps. But I'm going to be here directly in front of it, tending it, so there shouldn't be a legal issue there. Okay, get on about 10 minutes till 6. So I'm going ahead and start getting the shelter ready. I'm going to kind of use this. It's already there. So I got the Free Soldier. If you guys remember that from a previous video, it's a pretty nice tarp. We're going to clear out some stuff here. Okay, it looks decent enough. We'll get rid of all the sharp stabbies. Actually, let me get on the other side of this thing so I'm not blocking your view. So I'm going to drape that thing right over this thing, make an A-frame. But I want to make sure. Oh, great. There was a bunch of ants. Whew. Bad boy stank too. Might be termites, actually. Abandoned ship, fellas. Make sure we get all that pokey stabby stuff out of the way. All right, I think that's most of what I'm worried about out of the way. You know what? If they bug me, I'll just eat them because I'm hungry. Oh, no, that may be in the way there. Let's just move this bad boy over here. All right, now we'll get this tarp. So that's the old ridge line I made, but I shouldn't need it. Shouldn't be an optimal Crazy. This thing is a 10 by 10. It's pretty large. So I've got enough to do pretty much any kind of configuration you want with this thing. They're not a sponsor by any means, but I do like this tarp. Now, truth be told, yeah, I could absolutely get away with far less. But it is kind of nice to have at least the option if you want something bigger. Looks like about there. All right. Now, one thing I will say, they got me tent pegs, but they did not give me enough. They only got me 4, and this thing could really use somewhere in the neighborhood of 8, 6. But as we say, it is what it is. So I'm just going to throw a few specifically where I want them. And then I will take and make at least maybe 2 to 4 more of these, depending on how it's looking. But the main thing I want to do is just get my 4 corners kind of pegged out where I want them. These are aluminum, by the way, the tent pegs. But I'm going to take the long way around. Actually, I can already see I don't want that quite there. We'll go there with that one. I don't think we're supposed to have any kind of real wind tonight, so that shouldn't be a problem. There we go. Not bad. Now I got some excess over here where I can actually close the front flap. All right. I'm going to throw this cordage back in the bag, so I don't think I'll need it. But in case I do, I want it right where I can find it. But now, real quick, I am going to cut probably 4 more little pegs. That way I can get this thing a little more tidied up. Alrighty, so now we got our tarp down in there. That's going to be our moisture barrier from the ground. Now we'll get some padding and everything in there just shortly. Okay, we got our blue yoga mat down, and we got a moving blanket on top of that. That'll add some R value, plus a little extra padding. And I've got a larger moving blanket to actually cover up with, plus a really crappy old pillow that was going to be thrown away. But after those 2 items are tossed in there, she's ready to sleep. Well, we're stripped, so maybe that's a good sign. All right, guys, we're baited back up. Got a little piece of power bait on there. Oh, I may have threw that over. I did. It's all right. Oh, hey, there we go. Ah, well, we had a bite. Clean me again. All right. I'm going to grab another worm real quick, guys. That's encouraging. At the very least, there's something there now. All right, real quick, we'll toss her in there again. Mosquitoes are out. Let's get this bad boy a little bit closer. Well, I thought we had something there for a minute, but that is not the case. Well, we'll just let that sit for a while. I'm not too worried about if it swallows a hook, because either way, it's going to be something I'm going to eat, or it's going to be catfish bait. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, you would get tangled in that, wouldn't you? All right, finally. Ooh, finally. One. I got to get that bucket with some water in it, guys, and we'll see if we can't catch a couple more. But thank goodness. There we go. Nice. Huh. I think he may have rammed into it. Number 3. That's what I'm talking about there, guys. Didn't get the catch on camera, but unfortunately, that's a bass and I cannot keep it. So, ouch, yeah, it's stabby. Pretty small one anyway. So, there you go, little bass. Be free. Well, there's definitely a big difference in how them hit. He hit that, and it was no time that bobber just vanished. But he did also strip my hook. So it is new worm time. All right, now I got the camera rolling, so now watch all not to catch anything. Because you guys know how it goes. We got company coming. Oh, a love tap. Daggone, almost got our worm. Ooh. Out of control. He's a little tiny guy, but he still counts. That's good bait right there for catfish. All right, guys. We got him hooked under the spine. We're going to throw him in for catfish. And, of course, we can hit a tree branch first, though. All right. Take 2.